And last but not least, let's ride, let's ride, let's ride,
Yeah.
let's ride. Let's
To-
talk about
Tom Slick.
Fast X.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, this is
t-
this is basically this is basically Tom Slick at this point. Like it's straight up Rocket League, Speed Racer, you know.
Rocket League.
Yeah. It's straight up. Well,
Oh
if you know what
shit.
Tom Slick is, right? It's just this thing is just straight up a goddamn cartoon at this point.
Yeah,
Uh,
boy. But all right. So little preamble time, right? So just letting you all know there will be a spoiler section, right? Because there's some spoilers that I just want to talk about here. I just want to get this off my chest, right?
well, yeah. I mean, we
Yeah.
only have one kind of interesting spoiler. I mean, not really, but
Okay. Right.
well, yeah,
So preamble time, right? We've talked about the Fast Furious franchise before. We actually had like a long ass episode of BSB to Billy talking about the franchise. That was when it came out, defeated the Furious. Sorry.
right.
But what I was reminded of when I recapped Fast 9 and when I actually sort of listened to my review of it is that we never got Fast 9 in theaters in Trinidad because of a little something called the pandemic. Yes, cinemas were closed, so
Yeah.
we had to like moan and be like, ah, why? When America got to see Fast 9 before us, so we had to wait till it came out on digital, and that's when we saw it, and that's when we reviewed it, right? So I was reminded that like after I watched Fast 9, oh shit, like I was trying to remember if I saw it in cinema. I was like, no, I watched it home, and yeah, I kind of wish I watched it home. Sorry, I kind of wish I watched it in cinema. Um, but I couldn't, right? I think that's probably one of the reasons why I enjoyed this one here so much, right? But Fast Nine, right? Watch it over. I enjoyed a smidge bit more than I did before. My issues still remain the same, where I felt like it just didn't know how to balance the tone. It just had this sort of super serious tone, and I noticed it from since part 8, from since Fate to the Furious, from since the moment where Paul Walker exited the franchise because he passed away. Um, and it lean a lot more into Dom's story, right? Of course, played by Vin Diesel.
Right.
Yeah, and the whole stuff with him and Cypher and the kid and all that kind of stuff. That's when they started to take this really super serious route, right? But you're doing all that, right? And I mean, in a spy genre, in a spy, story, it makes sense to go that far, right? I mean, this is literally like you're watching Mission Impossible, right? You want to take the characters and destroy them from the inside out, right?
Listen,
So
it's
Cypher is
straight up.
literally the
It's
villain
straight
from
up.
like the fifth and sixth
Well,
Mission
in this
Impossible
one,
movies, right? Yeah.
no, in this, yeah. So they reaching. Well, they kind of, yeah. They move from the what do you call it, by the not the spy phase. The five and six is effectively the what do you call it, the heist
The
phase.
heist. Yeah, yeah.
There's the heist phase of the genre, and then seven was kind of heist. They're still in the heist phase,
Yeah.
and
Seven
then
was more the transition phase. That was
right,
when they officially went into spy shit. That's when they
and then they started
officially
getting
went
to
there.
the outright the spy stuff. And it's like, all
Yeah,
right,
with
well,
God's Eye and stuff like that.
yeah,
It was cool that they actually bring back God's Eye. That, by the way, is the device that
yeah,
Ramsey, played by McGill, Natalie Emmanuel created, right? So that was the big conceit there, right?
yeah,
But yeah, so they try to balance this sort of super serious, I'm gonna destroy everything that you love, you know what I mean, stuff
yeah.
with, Dom and Cypher, but you still want to throw the goofy over the top shit, right? And we got that's where you got that imbalance. Because yeah, I mean, if there's one big takeaway from 9, of course, it's Tyrese and Ludacris, in a Pontiac in space, right? Because the fans, in quotes, asked for that, right? But I should also mention too, before we get to your thoughts on 9, and then you could jump into 10. Um, the inclusion of John Cena as
Right,
the younger brother of Dom, Jacob.
right.
And I'll talk about him in this one here because not surprised he comes back in this, right? So yeah, again, it just felt that imbalance, boy. Since from 8, just that you want to do the super serious spy shit, but at the same time you want to give us explosive over the top stuff. And I mean, to be fair, that's why we pay money to see these movies, right? Sorry to say, that's what we pay to see since, I don't know, 5 or 6, right? But it just felt a little imbalanced here, right? But for better or for worse, they kind of sort that problem out with Fast 10. But I'll get to that in a bit. So, Ricardo, you could talk about 9. Well, I guess you could. I would be surprised if you didn't even watch over 9. I know a lot of people will go into 10, not even remembering half of what happened in 9. But I
Yeah.
really strongly suggest you do watch 9 because it'll make a lot of sense in more ways than one. But yeah, Ricardo, your thoughts on 9, and then you could jump into 10.
Right, nine was just kind of neither here nor there for me. I was just like tired of it. I was underwhelmed with it. Again, the problem is that they try to do the rock thing with John Cena and they just fall flat. Like they try to make it a thing now. It's like, yeah, but like that don't really work or maybe make sense. Jason Momoa hopefully kind of does a little bit. We'll debate about that. But yeah, I didn't hate this as much as that. But yeah, nine was just kind of neither here nor there. And one of the big problems I had with nine is that it had no great set piece. Like they just kind of trying to do somebody magnet thing, but that was about it. That just largely fall flat for me. Um, but that's about it. Yeah, moving on.
Honestly, I felt they didn't do enough of the magnet stuff, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. I
Like at
could.
least in part 8 with, you remember there was this whole thing with Cypher and like activated cars, so she was using cars more or less as
Right.
as
Drones or something like that. Yeah,
yeah,
like I
yeah.
cannot drone something. Yeah,
Yeah, basically, at least they make that into
something.
a
Yeah,
memorable set piece. But with the magnet stuff, it
exactly.
just kind of came and went. It was just like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
yeah. And then the
Yeah,
trailer
pretty much.
spoiled that stuff for God's sake, right? But whatever. But yeah, go
Yeah.
on.
Well, sure. You had to get into spoiler. Well, anyway, yeah. So this one now right. And well, the thing with nine, it only had one thing that was kind of memorable. It was still just kind of dumb. That was Kazan. And again, trailer spoiled so whatever. Uh, yeah. I just didn't care. Again, as John Cena didn't really bring the heat as I thought he could have. Even though I think he's a better actor than The Rock, he still don't have that star power to the level of The Rock. So it just kind of fall flat ultimately. But yeah, I in my humble opinion, I just thought they could have just done more with this, but because we basically got Aqua Joker and Hawk Reacher, it does work for the most part. Like I
Ha
didn't
ha
hate
ha,
it.
Hawk Creature. Ha ha, I
Yeah, yeah,
see you.
yeah. Right. But so I couldn't get myself to hate this as much. Um, but I couldn't get into it as what it is. Yeah, that is it. Um, well, spoilers time, right? So yeah,
Well, before we get to spoilers, right? Well, if you don't mind, I will do the synopsis, right? I will attempt, and then I'll share my thoughts, and
right,
we'll just give overall spoiler-free thoughts, and then we'll jump into the spoiler section, right? So previously on, Furious 9 or Fast Furious 9 or whatever it is, right? Cypher escaped because she was imprisoned by this shitty little billionaire guy that nobody care about because he get killed like an idiot in the end, right? And of course, Dom's brother Jacob, well, more or less leave because they on mutual terms. That's all we'll see, right? Because initially Jacob wanted to kill him because of reasons, right? Um, Han return and they set up this whole, and I'll talk about that in the spoiler section, right? They set up that Mr. Nobody, Mr. Nobody vouched for him, so he faked the death and whatnot. So Han is
right.
alive, right? And the team is back together pretty much, right? So that's it, right? So let me just jump now into Fast X, right? So it opens actually quite smartly now with the big event of
Right,
Fast Five,
referencing
which
Fast
is
Five, right?
which is the removal of the safe from the police
The save
station
sequence, yeah,
and the
yeah,
big
yeah.
chase scene, right? And this is done very
That's
well
still
done.
the best. That's still the best set piece in the entire
In the
franchise, in my opinion.
franchise,
In
yes,
the whole
totally
franchise,
agree. Yeah, like I
in my
was watching
opinion.
this, I was like, this
And
shit
that's
still
why,
hold up though.
yeah,
And
exactly.
this
And
movie
that's
came
why,
out like what, 2012, 2013, and it still
right.
holds up. Like holy
And
shit.
that's why it was so frustrating because I was like, yeah, no, I think it's 2011, but yeah, uh,
No,
that
no,
was
no.
so
It
frustrating.
wasn't 11. It was either 12 or I could be wrong. It's probably 11. I can't remember.
Fast
Yeah,
Five? Let me
Fast
see.
Five.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, I seen 2011 here. Well,
Okay. Okay. Well,
right.
all right. 2011. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. So no, I that I was expecting a set piece on that level now, on in this, and we don't get that at all. Like it have a kind of an interesting set piece, which is some straight up speed racer bullshit.
I
Some
love that
real
this is
straight.
Speed Racer.
No, yeah, is speed racer slash Rocket League slash. I keep referencing Tom Slick if you know what Tom Slick is.
Hmm.
Straight up some cartoon nonsense. But
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah, yeah.
we get into that.
Right. Right. So yeah, so we learned in the process that the villain of that film,
Yeah, it's his son.
Hernan Reyes,
Fella's son. Yeah, it's Fella's son.
had a son,
Yeah,
by the name of Dante, right?
right.
Perfect choice of mean name, right? Played by Aquaman himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Aqua Joker. He basically playing Aqua Joker.
Yeah, yeah, he is Aqua Joker, right?
Yeah.
Played by Jason Momoa, right? So he was presumed dead, right? And okay, so this is just a minor spoiler, right? We'll get to the spoiler section in a bit, right? I laugh when I realize where he was in that chase scene, right? So if you remember
Right.
from Fast Five, when that whole shenanigans going on the highway,
Yeah.
right? There's a guy who
Yeah.
comes out with a real gun, right? He's firing. He was in the same car with him, Jay. Like, oh
Right.
my
Yeah.
god, are this serious?
Hmm.
On this serious movie, he was there. Because
Yeah.
yes, I remember when the safe knocked that car off and it fell off and it fell into the water. And yes, that is where Dante was. And yes,
Yeah.
he is
Yeah.
not alive. He is not dead because he's Aquaman. Of course, he survived the fall, right? He's Aquaman, right? Duh, right? So long story short, Dante is out for revenge, right? So he knows everything about Dominic, right? If because it's real Mission Impossible shit, right? He know about the family. He know that he have a son. For some weird reason, his son is much older than he was in Fast 9. So I'm there wondering how much years passed. But anyway, cause he's like what 7 or 8 now, but whatever it is, right? Brian, right? That's his name, right? Um, and it pretty much starts off with this mission that well basically the agency, right? If you remember, that's the team that Mr. Nobody is a part of. That's the group that pretty much got Dom and his team into spy shit in the first place, right? Yeah, they send them to Rome, right, to do a
Right.
job, right? But then they realize, oh, that was kind of on shit. Like it was fake basically. It was just a
Well, that's
trap
setup.
basically, right?
It's a
It's a
trap. Yeah. Yeah.
setup. Yeah,
Right.
and that just leads to one of the film's big set pieces. We talk
Right.
about that
There's
later on.
the only set piece that I didn't hate, but I really thought they tried to do the safe thing again a
Right,
little
right,
bit
right.
because it's
Yeah,
this big heavy object bouncing about. But because it's too cartoony and none of it is working, they didn't. It still fall flat. Like it
yeah.
was. Yeah.
Right, and just to wrap things up as far as premise goes, because any more and I'll be spoiling it. Yeah, so just basically it's about Dante just trying to bring down Dom, right? And
Right.
Dom just going out of his way to stop him. But our
Right.
characters are pretty much split up. They have their own little side quests or whatnot, and just a matter of how far Dante's willing to go. And how much Dominic is going to hold on to faith and family, right? Because that's the two main themes that he's going with, faith and family, right? How far he's going to go to, well, yeah, basically save who he calls his family, right? I'll stop here, right? So yeah, stay with me, right? At the end of the show, I turned over, I turned to my friend, right, who was there with me, right? And I said, this is hands down one of the best, so bad it's good movies I have seen in a long while, boy. This movie is
Yeah.
bad. Eh? It's bad.
Yeah.
In terms of characters, in terms of where the characters are put, in terms of pacing, in terms of just how far they're gonna do this whole no logic thing.
Yeah.
Everything is just
They they
bad.
they really stopped giving a fuck with this one.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
before.
zero
Yeah.
fucks were
Yeah.
given with this
Before it
movie.
was before they didn't care, but this time they really
Yeah,
didn't give a shit. Like they
I
really
was
didn't give a shit.
watching this boy Ricardo boy, and I was amazed. I was shocked literally at how little of a shit they gave Tread, right? Because you seeing big A-list actors in this Tread, right? And it's almost like you're watching this practical joke being played in to the
Almost. Yeah.
audience, Tread, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, we play with you for 9 films, right? Let me really push the envelope with this one here, Tread. I was shocked at just how far they threw, literally how far they threw logic out the window, Dread. It's
Yeah.
like they just threw it into space, Dread, right? And you just wondered
At the last
when it's gonna
movie,
come back down to earth, you know what I
no,
mean?
the last movie really went into space, right? So
You know, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But I will lie though, I had fun watching this, boy. It was
Right.
amazing to see this, right?
No,
I was laughing
more.
my ass off through a majority of this, and I'll get into
Yeah.
why the spoilers, boy.
No,
But I had a
more saved it.
Yes, right. Well,
Momoa
as you
saved
say,
it.
a good thing that they bring up that. Yes, Jason Momoa is the best thing about this movie. Everybody will see this, right? He totally shines as the villain, right? I just love how well, basically, why he works straight is that he get the gist of the movie right away. It's like, all right, I shouldn't care. I should take this shit seriously. So you're gonna see this with my villain, right? Yes, he is intimidated at times, right? Especially when shit hits the fan and characters are close to getting killed and whatnot, right? That's when he gets intimidated, right? But other than that, he is legit Joker, right? He is like a
Yeah.
mixture of, I would say, it's like the last three Jokers more or less put together. He is Jared Leto, he is Joaquin Phoenix, and he is Heath
Right.
Ledger Joker. Just put together into one character, man. He is easily one of the best villains of the Fast Furious franchise, bar
Right.
none. Like just when you thought Deckard Shaw brother was the best, right? Yeah, he come in and like he could give that character a run for his money, right? But it's just so how over the top he is, but he is hamming it up on purpose. I was just there loving every second of it, Jen. I just love how he displeases as well to like well, they say he's androgynous, so I guess that's the term that I'll use in terms of how he play and whatnot, right? But
Okay.
he's still tough and rugged. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The way how he dress, how he have his
Yeah.
fingernails painted and shit.
I
It's
I
that,
couldn't I
it's that.
couldn't I couldn't piece that together. You have to tell me that.
But you
But
wouldn't know because of how over the top the performance is, right? But I know
right.
that's what he was going for, right? But yeah, though, it turns out it's going toe to toe with Dom Dread. It totally works, man. I was loving that, right? But yeah, everything else surrounding this is just batshit crazy. It is just zero shits given, though. And again, I was just amazed that they just did this, that a movie like this actually exists. There are moments that are played for like serious, and I'm laughing at this. I'll get to one particular moment in the spoiler section, right? But yeah, boy, I will not lie. I think really the main reason for me, right, is because I didn't see Fast 9 in theaters, right? So this was like me returning to the theaters to see a Fast and Furious movie, right? And yeah, boy, I just had fun watching a bad movie. If ever you have like a bad movie line, this is one of those shows to pop in,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying bad, like it. When we say so bad is good, it's not like say Batman and Robin bad, right? It's just bad in the sense that there's no logic to this. This is literally a Saturday morning cartoon, an unapologetic cartoon that we're seeing here. Characters return just because they get killed off because they come back because right. We'll get to that in the spoiler section, right? Um, and again, boy, I'm just there like this is where the franchise reached. Boy, remember, and we always say this with every film that comes out of this series. Remember back in the days, back in 2001, when we were kind of getting into racing games. And remember there was this movie that come out about these street racers that was stealing DVDs and shit like DVD
Yeah.
players. Remember that days? Now we reach to giant nukes,
Yeah.
ball-sized nukes rolling through the streets of Rome, right? With the intention of reaching the Vatican.
Yeah.
I want you to
But
process this, folks. This device, right, is launched miles away from the Vatican, right? And the whole point is that it's supposed to reach there and detonate, right? This is where we reach, folks. Process that, right? So I would say once you just to end my spoiler free review, once you go in with that mindset knowing that you're gonna watch some shit, you will have a blast with this, right? But if you've given up on the series since I would say 6 or 7, yeah, this show is not gonna do anything for you at all, boy. But
yeah.
me seeing this, boy, I just being amazed that a studio like Universal, sorry, pump X amount of money into this X, right? Ha ha ha, right? And going to make more than that just offer this bullshit.
Yeah.
I was amazed though, and I say bullshit in the most generous way, right? And I just feel like this show just doesn't care. It doesn't take itself seriously at all, boy. But there's a fine line between doing that and just like, oh gosh, really, folks, really. And this is where Fast X is. Really, folks, we really doing this? But
Yeah.
again, I won't lie, I had fun. I was laughing my ass off for this shit, right? But yeah, Ricardo, your final spoiler-free thoughts, and then we'll get into the spoiler section, and then we'll get to rate it.
Yeah, as I said, I like it a little more than 9, but still really fall flat and not nowhere near as interesting as it could have been. Um, that's about it. And well, given the ending, I was like, all right, well, I suppose that I get why you do this and you reveal this piece of information at that point. But I was again two things saved it, right? The tree stag and Jason Momoa. He was reasonably entertaining. Brie Larson was okay in this, but she was just pointless. To be honest, like that could have been anybody.
I know,
Um,
I know.
yeah.
Why?
And then
I mean, no disrespect to Bria, but why was she in
why
this
was she in
movie?
this? Why was
We'll
she
get
in
to
this?
that to spoilers, right? But yeah,
Yeah, and then well they had that's gonna be in the spoiler section, but yeah, Hawk Reacher, right? I thought he
yeah,
was
Hawk
okay.
Reacher was.
I thought he was okay in this. For what he's trying to do and go for. Like, alright, even though again. What they do with it is straight up a ripoff of something in a Mission Impossible movie. But
Oh,
yeah, we
but
don't get
of
into spoil.
course. Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get
So
into
yeah,
gotta get into
let's get into spoilery
right,
now.
so spoiler yeah.
You've been warned,
Right.
right? So
Right.
so
So
so so
Hawk Reacher, the twist with him is that he do more or less the identical twist from Mission Impossible 6 with Henry Cavill's character. More or less the
yes.
exact same twist. Same goddamn twist. He was working for the bad guy the entire time and he shoot down the plane. And
Oh wow, yeah.
we don't know if Lucas and them dead. Not sure,
Hmm.
right? They crashed on a plane. They're probably not dead, right? Maybe
Yeah.
types, right? But whatever.
But as
Uh
you bring up that, right? The same friend who's with me, right? He make a real serious point. I didn't even know this, right? It's so funny, right? Because when they do the reveal that Alan Richardson's character, his name is Eames, I think that's his name, right?
yeah.
Yeah, he was working with Dante all along. So it's a shot where you see two of them together. It's like, hey, two Aquaman, ha 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 ha. Because yeah,
Right.
Alan played Aquaman
Yeah,
in
yeah.
in
In
Smallville. I
Smallville.
didn't even know that.
Yeah.
But
I
I told
vaguely
my friend
remember
as
that.
he
Yeah.
mentioned that to me, I told him like I have a feeling that you, Ricardo, would have picked up on that too. I found that kind of funny.
I vaguely remember. Like, well.
Okay, I don't remember at all. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's
whatever.
Smallville. I don't remember. I
I vaguely
remember little
remember.
to that
It's only
to
when they
that
say it,
show.
they're like, oh yeah, right, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
This is I like trying to remember. Oh yeah, Martha. That is the two of them. Mother name is Martha. That is like writing that in a script.
Hmm.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
So
kind of
no.
funny, right?
Aqua Hawk Creature now, so you could call him that.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
Aqua Hawk
Aqua
Creature.
Joker. Aqua Reacher and Aqua Joker. Yeah. So that's a big twist, and that wasn't that interesting about this, but whatever.
Nah,
John Cena.
it wasn't to be honest, right?
Right.
But yeah, go
But
on.
they did it very late in the film, and I was like, why did they do it so late in the film? Because the film is a cliffhanger. Like, okay, see.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
talk about that too. Hmm.
John Cena and the son was okay. So John Cena characters dies. He blew up himself with the weird. I don't know what the fuck that nonsense car is,
I'll
but
talk about that too.
basically his weird, Rocket League car.
Hmm.
He just
Yeah,
kills
it's a
every.
Rocket League car. Like, swear to
Yeah,
God, it is.
yeah,
The design of it too.
yeah.
That's
He
Rocket
just
League
does
shit.
and he bunks and blow up himself and help out them. Blah blah blah.
I can talk about that too.
Then the last thing, so Gal Gadot is still alive for some reason.
Yeah, yeah.
She was in this. Is that the same submarine from Eight?
From Fate to the Furious,
Yeah,
if I am
whatever,
not mistaken,
whatever.
because I can't remember if they were in, sorry to say it, if they were in Alaska or on Antarctica, but swear to God, I feel that it is the same sub from Part 8.
Probably,
And
probably.
because Cypher was involved, because you see
Right.
Cypher there, I'll talk about that just now. Yeah, I did like, oh, that's your sub, but that kind of it kind of leave you wondering, the relationship between her and Gal Gadot character, right? But yeah,
Whatever. And then the end, right? So the end of 9, the post credits, it had some Jason Statham shenanigans, and
right.
I forget
But no,
why
well,
that was
all
one
right.
of them.
So what
And
happened?
in
What happened?
this,
What happened? One sec. What happened was the same shot where so it's kind of weird, right? The passage of time. So when Han and the others, right? That's Tej, Roman, and Ramsey was opening the door, right? Well, Han said he was going to see somebody, right? So the post credit scene or the end credit scene in 9 was you're seeing Jason, punch in the bag now, and yes, the same guy who was in it was there, right? And then, well, like he saw somebody by the door, he opens the door and he sees Han and he cut to black. That was it. So they
right,
kind of follow that up here in this movie, and then they lead to the fight and blah blah blah, right? But I'll talk about Shaw in a bit, right? But yeah, go on.
right. So the end of this now, we get to see Hobbs. He shows back up again in
Yes,
some post credit thing, and I couldn't.
that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, so I couldn't,
because
but I
because
couldn't.
we kind of we were always wondering at this point in the franchise with it wrapping
Where
up in quotes, will he make an appearance, and well,
right.
we kind of got the answer.
Right. So that the hype because it's like, well, they still in the movie together. They didn't leave the franchise. Apparently, that's a big deal. Because
Yeah,
I think all of that feeding off of the extra outside drama of Vin Diesel versus The Rock
right.
and Vin Diesel versus blah blah blah. I don't really care. But yeah, so he shows back up. I forget why he was there because he mentioned something with
No, it was
yeah,
something along the line of like from what I assume, right? He was just on some job, some mission,
you're right.
but it
Right.
happened to be in the same one of the spots that Dante was in because that's where he got the call and blah blah blah, right? So
Right.
I don't know if he was hunting down Dante or if he was just doing some random mission, but he get the call and it's like something along the line, I'm gonna get you, you some bitch. I
So
just cut
this
the
this
black.
gonna be so okay. Is this gonna be is the next movie gonna be the last one or is it two more?
Well, it was initially going to be one last film, but
Right.
because the studio, they like, we just want to squeeze more,
As much
more money
right.
out of
Gotta
it.
milk that cow.
Yeah,
Right.
milk it even more. Yeah, we're getting
Right.
two more films. So,
Right. So yeah.
unfortunately, and I see this honestly, unfortunately, this could be a trilogy we get in here, bro.
Right.
And
Okay.
this what we saw here is the Fellowship of the Ring part of it.
Right. Right.
When I say it out loud, it kind of
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense, kind of,
Yeah.
but technically it should be a two-parter, kind of like how
Whatever.
they did with Mission Impossible, right? But anyway,
Right.
so
Right. So the
yeah, go on.
one thing I did like, they went back. The race in Brazil really felt like a race like the old movies. Like I
Yes.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed that race. Where it was, the camera, where the camera was, how they shoot it. They shoot the null stuff the same way. Um, the action sequence at the end is okay. It's not a great set piece, but it's like
Huh.
it alright because the stuff with the two helicopters that wasn't so bad, and
Yeah.
then John Cena killing himself that wasn't so bad, and then the last ending again straight up Tom Slick, some cartoon nonsense. But the part where he used the nulls to survive the going down the hill off the
Well,
dam
going down
thing,
the dam. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
damn right, that was
Also,
kind of
as you
cool,
say,
but
Nuss,
still
right? Mad props straight for bringing back the
the null
POV
shot,
shot of the
yes,
Nuss shot.
null shot,
When I saw
yes,
that, I was like,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I'm
finally,
glad you
yes,
bring that back.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
'Cause I
yeah.
think the
It's a
last time we
while.
saw that was probably in Seven, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a while.
I'm not all knowledgeable in Fast Furious lore, but I think the last time was in Seven. I could be wrong.
Right. So whatever. I mean, I'm not super hype over this. It done again. Listen, them 3-star grill do a lot of work here. So whatever.
I was sober through all of this, so maybe
No,
that's why I was
I
laughing so much more, right? But if you don't mind, right? So just to touch on characters for a bit, right? Characters that returning characters and some new characters to show up, right? So when I saw Rita Moreno, I did
yeah.
like when they say, oh, they tell Brian as the boy, your grandmother's coming, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Abuela, yeah.
Abuelta, whatever it is coming, right?
Abuelita.
Abuelita, sorry,
Yeah.
oops, right. I see Rita Moreno in this. So
Yeah.
my mind is like, but wait there, but all right,
Another
Vin,
another
kind of,
popular
well,
old woman.
yeah, yeah. I mean, last time we saw her was in West Side Story, great film, right? But the thing is, right? But now it adds something even more to, the lineage, if you will, of Dom and Jacob there. Because I
Right.
did like, all right, it's Italian and, white American, but Rita is like Hispanic though.
Yeah.
So
No, that's
what going on here?
yeah, just general brown people, and then the son half black. I really sure what the fuck going on. Nobody cares.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what?
Because the wife Brazilian. Yeah,
Yeah, the
whatever.
wife was Brazilian, but I mean,
Just
I understand that, but
general
like,
general brownness because
yeah,
apparently Ting is a Brazilian too. Yeah, we call him Jason Momoa. It's like yeah, but whatever, whatever. The Rock,
yeah.
whatever.
All right,
General,
like, there's little nitpick stuff. It's like, but shouldn't she be like Italian or something? So, like,
I
I
don't
was
care.
expecting, like, I don't know,
No,
Edie Falco or Lorraine Bracco from The Sopranos or something. So you bring
right.
Rita Moreno, okay,
I don't
right?
really care. I don't really care.
Also,
But yeah,
yeah, speaking of classic actress, famous actresses, right? So after
right.
the
Helen Mirren had to help out. Yeah,
Huss,
yeah,
after that whole scene in Rome, right? I just seeing Dom watching, the skyline, contemplating shit, right? I just see Helen Mirren just show up out of
yeah.
nowhere. I don't know if I said it out loud or like I thought about it mentally. I was like, how the fuck how they meet? How she even see him? How this
No,
even happen?
remember?
She
Yeah,
just
yeah.
sort of show up
Yeah,
and tell him
she
some kind of, she just tell him some kind of thing about the
remember she
agency and the this and the
yeah.
that.
Remember
How?
she two sons was super villains anyway. So whatever. Remember that thing, mother.
I know she's a
Yeah,
Shaw. I get that,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
That's
understand what I'm saying, right? Because going back to 9,
she
they
was in
kind of
8.
stumble. Yeah, she was in.
Remember she was a big part of 8. So it's like whatever now.
Yeah, she was in 8, and she was in a piece in Hobbs Shaw, right? But the thing is, right?
Right.
In this one here, right? Like, she just shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what is
She
she
was
doing
just
in Rome? Like, really think about it. What is she doing there? It's never explained, right? And for the moment I saw that, and this is right after we got this over the top Raiders of the Lost Ark, but just with cars now and a nuke moment with the whole chasing thing. When I
yeah.
saw that, that's when I realized, okay, this show really not gonna give a fuck, but they just
Yeah,
really
nah,
don't
they
care,
don't
right?
care. No, they really don't care.
She just shows up out of nowhere. But anyway, right? But just to touch quickly on that nuke scene, right? as a set piece, it's great, right? It works, right?
It's
It
alright,
goes on
yeah.
for a little too long, but it's there, right? But
As I
again,
said, to me they were just it really felt like they was trying to recapture the magic with the thief. They're trying to do a thief thing again because it's a big heavy object moving about. That's what they're trying
yeah.
to go for. So that's why I didn't completely
And they
hate it.
kind
Yeah.
of have to do this stuff where, the cars that park on the side get smashed and people could be in
Yeah,
danger.
yeah,
We've seen this since, like, what? Time immemorial when it comes to the show, right? But yeah,
yeah,
so as a set piece, it worked, right? But again, Momoa, well, Dante, I believe, said it clearly, right? It was supposed to be detonated in the Vatican, right? So I'm amazed that because what happens is that it was in the same truck that that Ramsey and Tej was in, right? And
right.
then it automatically comes out and
And
starts rolling down, right?
that remind me of that. Speaking of things, it's also similar to the Dark Knight final sequence because the bomb they had to look for in a truck.
Oh right,
Same,
yes, yes, yes. That's true.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah,
good, good, good point there, right? So my thing is, right, from where that truck was to where the Vatican was, because that's miles away, right? You're telling me that you, as a Dante, was expecting this thing to roll uninterrupted, unaffected, right? Even though there's a moment where you see it like catch a fire, like an explosion happen, and you see flames around it. So it's like, okay, this is a video game I'm watching here. What's going on here, right? But somehow, some way, it's supposed to land right in front of the Vatican, and then they activate it. Again, zero fucks given, right? But I will
yeah.
lie, as a set piece, it works, right? So John Cena, let me talk about John Cena for a bit, right? Out of the blue, again, out of the blue, right? So Mia, because we never mentioned Mia, right? She there taking care of Brian, right? Well, I should mention too before that, right? I have to
Brian
move a little
Paul.
quickly, right?
That was the character's name. Paul or Brian.
It's Brian.
Right, name after Brian, right? Oh,
Yeah, his name after Brian.
For some reason I keep thinking he's named Paul.
No,
I don't,
no,
okay.
no, no.
Yeah, okay.
That'll be too much on the news, right?
Yeah,
So
okay.
before we get to that, right? So I have to talk about just for a bit Brie Larson and Alan Ritson, right? So we knew Brie Larson was going to be this, right? But the setup with her, just right after the whole attack there, with the whole explosion thing in Rome, right? And everybody, all the Fast and Furious team is public enemy #1 all around the world and all that kind of shit, right? So terrorists and all that kind of stuff, right? So you get this moment with Tess, right? And Eames now apparently like he running Mr. Nobody's agency because we still don't know what happened to Mr. Nobody because we never really saw him in the flesh outside of a flashback with Han, right? I'll talk about Han just now. Because we don't really know if he alive or dead. We'll just assume that he off the grid, right?
You're right.
But apparently he running the place now. So you just have this scene with like a bunch of TVs and whatnot, and it looks so green screen. It's not even funny, right? And Brie Larson apparently is supposed to be the daughter of Mr. Nobody,
Right.
sorry, right?
Right.
So it's just the whole idea, like Eames, right? That's Alice's character, just saying, "I'm running shit now, and I'm gonna stop these guys. And I know that they worked for us, but they're enemies, so we should take them down." Was so cliche and so bad. Even right down to the dialogue, like no disrespect to Brie and them, right? But the
Right.
dialogue was so bad. It was so
Again,
hokey. It was so bad.
I don't care. You see, the problem is that it's hard for me to give a shit, even like having a like make fun of this. Cause
Yeah.
none of this shit stopped being cute a long time ago, like a
Yeah,
very
I
long
mean,
time ago.
bad into a cliche, but it's just like, they're threats to, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, and all like, they're enemies and threats and all that kind of stuff. That's basically what I see, right? But yeah, just a whole setup with them just looks so bad and so cheap, right? But anyway,
Yeah.
so with Mia now and, her taking care of Brian, right? Suddenly the agency people just bust inside the house and, start to shoot up, right?
Right.
So, where Cena come from? All of a sudden,
Yeah.
he
I don't
just
know.
there. He just show up
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
in the house, eh? In the house, he was there. He just knock a guy out, and then he just sort of shows up like, "Hey, I was here, because I got a tip from Dom." Okay,
Right.
but
Right.
we don't know where he was because if you remember from 9, he just drove off. We don't even know if who he working with anymore.
We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know. We don't know.
No
Whatever, right?
one. No one knows. No one cares.
Nobody cares, right? But
Yeah.
point is, right? So Jacob now decide that he have to take care. He have to bring Brian to his dad, right? So the moments with them was cute. It was cute. You
It's
kind of
alright.
get to
Yeah.
see, John
Even
Cena
though
with
there's
his
a
kind
totally
of.
different character from the Jacob of the last movie, eh? Not the
That
same
is the
person
thing
at
that
all.
catch me,
But
That is
what
the
they
thing that
do,
catch me.
they just straight up have him be peacemaker. Like
Yes,
that's just
exactly. Yeah.
play to his strengths.
Yeah,
And he
this
plays to his strengths.
kind
That's
of
fine.
awkward, kind of humor thing, but it works
Yeah.
because Cena is good at that, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
The moments with them was kind of cool and whatnot, right? but except for when they were on the plane, and for reasons, there are agents in the plane that they are in. So they just decided, you know what? Well, we need to stop said agents now, and we need to escape. So walk over to the bathroom, beat them up off screen, right? Of course. And then, we had this I forgot what you call that device actually, that sort of I forgot what you call it. That sort of device thing that it's not a drone basically, but the little bobsled kind of device thing that they were in, that they drop off from the plane from. I forget what you call it,
Okay, I
right?
can't remember.
Yeah, but that is how they escaped the plane, right? They keep in mind, right? They beat up the agents, right? But they just need to get out from this point. Not like the plane was going anywhere different. Think about this, sir. Think about this, sir. Not like the plane was going where they were supposed to go, or where they set out to go initially, right? But they just decided, you know what? Let me just jump out here now, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, fast, right?
Listen, yeah, listen, Matthew,
Again, zero
you talking,
fucks.
Matthew, you real talking as if you real putting effort into this, right? Because look,
I know,
I
I know, I know.
I check out a long time with this kind of stuff. To be
All right,
honest,
all right, all right.
again,
So,
I'll say it's better than 9. I think it's better than 9.
yeah,
Again, but only because of Jason Momoa. Like again, he actually brings some effort and some fun to it. But
all right.
everything else was like so dry, Joe.
Right,
Again, they
right.
just go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah, so few more things, right? Because believe you me, there's so much to dissect and analyze and just wonder what the fuck. But
yeah.
this is just a few. Like, I can't even call it a few. It's just some moments that just stick out to me. I just want to get those out, right? So I'll move quickly, right? So John Cena, I'll get back to it a bit, right? Um, Han, right? So right, Han is back and whatnot. So he meet back up with Shaw, right? Um, I'm not even gonna talk about Tej and Roman because right now Tej and Roman is they just have this bromance
Right.
thing going on.
So
I
yeah,
think
so they
they
had this
even
subplot.
addressed that too. I think even Ramsey brings it up too. I thought that's pretty
No,
funny.
yeah. So then they had this subplot with Roman is leading a mission for the first time, but they have to make Roman kind of dumb all of a sudden, so they kind of fucking it up. Whatever. I couldn't care. I
Yeah, they,
couldn't.
they, they really could have do a lot with that though. The
Yeah,
moment that almost took me out of the show itself, I felt it was completely unnecessary though, was where they went to
yeah.
London and
Yeah.
they was trying to track, well, they was trying to just
Right. No.
figure out
Yeah.
what going
Yeah.
on.
They're right. So we call
And
him
and
this bullshit. We call him the thing was in this movie. We
and,
call
and,
him
and yeah, Pete Davidson
Pete
was in
Pete
it. I was like,
Davidson. Right.
what? You were
And
this? In my head, I know
that
wondering,
shit was
oh
strong
well,
fun.
if
Yeah.
if he was if the SNL episode did happen that he was supposed to host 2 weeks ago, but they canceled because of the right to strike, would he have? I have a feeling that he was going to reveal that day, because
Well, he was
nobody
gonna
knew he was
promote.
going to be in that, Nobody
Right.
knew.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You supposed well as I was saying, he was gonna promote the show, whatever it is, whatever.
Yeah, 'cause I know he had another show that he was promoting, something on, I think, Peacock or whatever it is, right? I
Right.
can't remember the name of it, right? But yeah, nobody knew he was going to be in it, but he was there. But yeah, that moment fell completely flat, and it
Yeah.
was even worse
Rubbish.
because they incorporated this stupid thing with muffins, and they had hallucinogens in it as well, too.
Yeah. No,
Like,
it was
why
real
are we
unfunny.
doing this?
It
Why are
was
we
real
doing this? And
unfunny.
then Tej and
Look,
Roman fight
I
each other,
like.
and they high.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing this?
I don't
Why
know.
are we
I
doing
here's the thing.
this?
As I say, listen. I still on record by saying that I think that they could make a Roman slash what do you call it?
Tej,
Roman Tej
yeah,
movie
they could do it and
possible.
have a
Possible.
soundtrack, please.
And our soundtrack, right? Because that's the
Yeah.
main thing about that, right? They could possibly do it, and have Natalie Emmanuel with them, keep that joke going.
Yeah.
You keep the, you keep the
Will they
dumb,
or won't they, or, kind of vibe, will they hook up? That kind
right?
of vibe, do
No, the
that, because
dumb.
cute.
They could do the dumb joke with the romance triangle bullshit, whoever it is. I
Yeah,
don't know and you could play with that in all kind of ways, right? But the thing is, if it's that scene, fuck no, like that.
yeah,
Go
that
cancel
scene
that
was,
project one time because that was terrible.
that was
That was like, yeah,
terrible, boy.
like
What
who the
was
hell is
that?
this?
Like, genuinely terrible. I don't mean this
Yeah,
in jest. It's genuinely
yeah,
terrible, right? But
yeah.
almost talk about the show, right? So yeah, so about Han, right? I was underwhelmed by the moment with him and Deckard, right? Sure, because
Right. Yeah, so you can't,
if
right.
it's if it's one major issue with this show though is that they will jump into action sequences just with the quickness, boy, right? It will just keep going and going. It's almost like if the audience have ADHD, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to throw an action sequence at us like every 3 or 5 minutes, dog. It's like you swear you're watching a kung fu flick, right? Swear to God, right? And this is coming from somebody who love kung fu flicks, right? But it's just ramping up all the action, right? So yes, you have the fight scene, okay, kind of come to expect it, right? But they kind of come to some common ground because surprise, surprise, agency people come and sort of shoot up the place, right? Blah blah blah, right? But what catch me, right, is that Deckard realizes that, oh, you know what I mean, Dante targeted everybody in the family, in Dom's family, if you will, and that also includes, Deckard's mom. So he just realized, oh, they're gonna target my mom, well, I gotta take them down. And he say, oh, I'm gonna be digging graves, man. So he just jump in his car and drive off, right? I'll talk about that. I'll bring that back up to you in when I wrap it up, right? So I'm moving quick here, right? I do like the Brazil stuff. I do like the race that we get here. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I like that they
Solid.
brought it back, hacked it back to fast fire. That was really cool, right?
Yeah.
And he actually got a race out of it as well, too, right?
Actual
But
race. Thank you.
actual race, right? What I like though is that it didn't take away from what Dante was doing, because yeah, Dante was part of the race, right? I
Right.
like how he
Right.
kind of set up like, I'm the tough guy here, but hey, look, Dom here, so I'm gonna race him because yeah, I mean Dante's an asshole, right? So he does that, right? They do this thing where Dom X's sister was there. She was actually in
Oh, that's her
in the
sister. Okay, I
suicide,
didn't know.
yeah, his sister, her younger sister. She was in the Suicide Squad. She was
Okay.
Ratcatcher too. I think that was her. Yeah, yeah,
That
she
was
was
her.
there. That was her.
That is Ratcatcher. That is the woman who was the kind of thing woman. That is
Yeah,
Ratcatcher.
that's Ratcatcher too. Daniela Melchior, if that's her name. Yeah,
Wow,
she's
she looked
Portuguese.
way
Yeah.
different.
I
She
like
looked way
what?
different in this
Yeah, she
film.
looked real different though. I will not lie, right? She did,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, she's the little sister of Dom's baby mama, and
Right, right,
there's
right.
a
But the
moment
answer, she's
where
the answer of the boy.
yeah, cause she was staying over at the sister place where Dom went to see she in five and blah de blah de blah, right? So
Right.
what I do like is all this real over the top, right? How cause again now these are also right. He just put these explosives underneath the people cars.
Everybody cry,
So
yeah.
he just like detonated it every time they punch doors. Like okay, you accelerated, boom, bitch, So I like that. Yes, you had the race, but it didn't take away from Dante's just overall plan of just being an asshole, right? So I like that, right? It was over the top, but it worked, right? What was real over the top though was with homegirl car Isabel, that's her name, right? And then the explosive kind of like got
How you save her,
removed.
yeah.
Yeah,
How dumb
it was
save her.
it was
Yeah.
dumb. It was dumb,
Yeah.
right?
This
And it and
that
it
was similar. That was similar to what Dom did with Letty in Six.
In six,
Um,
yes. You're
very
right,
similar
right?
idea.
And they
Yeah.
kind of do a thing where, oh, she may come back because they had like this dialogue scene between her and Dom, and they try to make
Yeah.
it all heartfelt and shit. And oh, maybe she might come back in the next film. Okay, whatever, right? So now we get into the finale of the film, right? The big climax and whatnot, all that stuff, right? As I mentioned twice before with John Cena sacrificing life, right? So yes, he was there with his son, and he have the Rocket League car, right, and send out
Right.
literal rockets and blowing up cars, right. Also because the show don't give a fuck, right. So apparently them in a brand new country. They're not even in Brazil, right? Because although I didn't need it, they actually kind of try to recreate Five where they are the same highway, so they have a bigger shootout now and blah blah blah. But it's the same
Right.
spot where your father died, right? That kind of didn't make any sense, but I get what he's trying to do in a sort of like a evil Dark Knight kind of way, like, oh, I have to take you to the same spot where my dad
Right.
did this, right? Right down to Dom going into the same police station where the police see from the first place, and I swear to God, right, like they do a kind of a spectre thing where it's like, oh, you're there, and you're seeing like pictures, and you're seeing like computer monitors with
Yeah.
shots of the
Yeah.
family. It's like, oh, I knew, and then the phone rings like, oh, I know you were gonna be here, so I'm now gonna target your family. Mwahahaha. So how you knew you was gonna go there? Anyway, but it's fast, right?
Wow.
Moving on,
Yeah.
moving quickly, right? So yeah, climax, big shootout, right? So I did like, alright, you are in a brand new country, right? How you get that hit squad all of a sudden to go after Dom and the others?
He
Like you
rich.
just call a man and like, yeah,
Yeah.
go for them, right?
Nice.
But
Yeah. Well, he's like the Joker. He's a Joker. Well,
yeah, he's a Joker, right? So with John Cena, right? John Cena just up on the side, right? that this is right after they kind of do a reference to Seven, where the side door, the passenger side of the car is open, so they have to the person had to jump from car to car, right? So that's what the son does. So Dom saves his son in the process. They do that because they did that in Seven. It's like, oh, okay, that was clever, right? But Huss, out of the blue, right? John seeing, like I think this is what he was seeing, right? Because there was a lot of explosions. I was barely hearing a word that he was seeing, right? That he was almost out of fuel, right? But he have to do what he can to more or less, prevent the bad guys from stopping Dom, right? So the man just up on the side that he is going to sacrifice his life to save his brother. Now I'll just mention this quickly, right? In the end of nine, there was a moment where they just kind of talk to each other, and that's when they get the whole common ground thing, and then Jacob just drove off, right? And that was it. Even right down to like Mia was there, and Mia never even like talked to the man. Fun fact, they never even talked to each other, right? In this
Yeah.
film, they actually communicate, right? They never did that in nine, right? Even though they're supposed to be brother and sister, right? Whatever, the show don't give a fuck, right? But yeah, we went from I want to kill you, older brother, I hate you, to all right, I am going to sacrifice my life to
Every
save you.
movie does this.
You
Yeah.
know why? Because I just had so
Because
much fun with my nephew,
yeah, because
and my and
family.
my my nephew means so much to me now, so I'm going to risk
Yeah.
everything to save my nephew and the brother who I hated in the last
Yep.
film. So he
Because family.
sacrifices his life because family.
Because
I will
family.
not
Yeah.
lie, I laughed my ass off when I saw that, boy. When he make the decision and then he do the thing with the car flip and then it land on the other cars and blow up, I was laughing, Trent. Cause that wasn't in at all. It just felt so spontaneous and felt so out of place. And I have to say it, out of character. Out of character. And yet he does this because family. I was done. I was laughing at that shit, right? So now we get to the finale, right? Big moment, the dam explodes, well, not the dam explodes. Oops, before we get to that,
Yeah.
um, they do the two trucks going to hit Dom, and,
Right.
Dom does the thing where he drives down and, big explosion. You saw that, right, in the trailer, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
Great moment, I must say, right? I think right. So this happens right as he lands, right? And of course, he survives, right, without a scratch. His son survives without a scratch too, right? I'm amazed, right? Because again, show don't give a fuck, right? Brian went through all this hell, and they cool with it, because he there with Dom, and Dom is a hero to him, right? Whatever, right? So now we get to the big reveal that Eames was working with Dante all along, and he just show up with this rocket launcher and attack the same plane that, well, because I would say Tej, Roman,
Yeah. Right. Right.
Ramsey, and Han come in this plane, right? They
Right.
land in this plane, right? Back to Deckard. I would have understand if Deckard was flying that plane, but he just decided to drive off because he want to go on Dick Graves, right? So he go on, right? So he was not in the plane, right? So who the fuck was flying that plane? How they get that plane to begin with? Nobody knows. The show don't give a
Yeah.
fuck. The plane just
Yeah.
shows up out of nowhere. They're there, right? That's what I try to say. And Eames, right? The plane crashes, right? Okay, I did. Why I bring this up too? Because when Deckard left, right, when he left his spot, right, there were other vehicles, there were battle vehicles, whatever it is, that were there. So I under the impression that was like Deckard shit now. You know what I mean? Deckard only plane, and I was just expecting in the end that at least Tej and them would have drive off. Even Ramsey, who fun fact couldn't drive in the last film, suddenly she know how to, right? Whatever. Yeah, I thought there was this guy bust out and the whole audience was gonna scream and they come and save Dom, right? That doesn't happen, right? I'll get to that in a bit, right? The plane crash, and we just there wondering what's gonna happen next, and they just see like all these bombs around the dam itself,
Right.
and they're about to detonate, and it cut to black.
Cool.
Then afterwards, he cut to the whole Antarctica stuff. I forgot to mention,
Right.
because yes, even Michelle Rodriguez, right, Letty, right, she was in what does it call it by not the Black Ops prison, or I forget what you call it, the kind of prison where like you're away from the world basically, right? I think if I'm not mistaken, that's the same spot that they put Deckard in the first place, right? In
Right.
the end of seven, and the Rock was there to talk about, oh well, when you come out, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna kill you, right? That kind of shit, right? So yes, you get the whole fight scene with her and Cypher, which kind of made no sense, but it was just
Yeah.
there because we
Uh-huh.
need them to fight, right? Whatever, right? So point is, they come out and they're in Antarctica, right? And much to my surprise, that's where the submarine come out, and Gal Gadot is alive. I remember Tracy seeing that, like, he was hearing through the grapevine that she may show back up, but I didn't want to believe it, right? But the moment I saw that ship, sorry, I saw that submarine, I tell myself it was either she or the Rock. It couldn't be Hobbs, right? It couldn't be Hobbs at all. But when I saw Gal Gadot and she's smiling and she looking good as ever, I did like, all right, this is where we reach. Okay, this is where we reach. She dead for like 3 movies and all of a sudden she
Well,
alive. We don't know. Whatever.
we never see she. That's the thing. Yeah, she fly on the plane. She just fly into the darkness. So it was whatever.
Yeah.
Right? That's why
So
I wasn't surprised. Because the
yeah.
only person who had to come back now at this point is probably Ja Rule, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly. I
yeah,
would love to see Ja Rule come back, like swear to God, right?
right.
But
Yeah.
to the show's credit, right? In 9, they did say that, Gal Gadot's character, I forget the name, sorry, um,
What is it? Like
actually, yeah, she actually knows Mr. Nobody, and that was
okay.
so she actually vouched for Han, so that's why he reached out to Han initially, and it was like, all right, well, we'll just fake the whole death thing from Tree, and then you will just stay dead, but you'll just be working first. So that was the justification into why he was alive, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, still don't make no sense, but whatever, right? But a few more things, just a couple more things, and then we'll wrap up, right? Dog. After that reveal, right, and then it cut to credits. Because, yes, it's a to be continued, right? It's a stinger, right? A fella get up who was sitting down right in front of me, right? The man get up and is like, Hoss, that's real shit, boy. Boy, how you gonna end the show like that, boy? Hoss, that's real shit, boy. I was laughing at that, though. I was laughing the moment when I saw it was a cliffhanger. The moment it was credits and they played that song that feature Young Boy Never Broke Again. I forget the name of the song
Right.
right now. I
Yeah.
was laughing. I was laughing. I was telling my friend again. The whole so bad is good thing, eh? But when the fella who was in the theater with me come out and was saying, "Boy, that's real shit, boy. How you get the movie like that, boy?" I was laughing even harder, boy. Right? But I knew he was gonna get something else, before the credits officially roll. That's where you get the moment with the Rock and him being in it, and that genuinely surprised me. Now, that for me is something I'm really excited for because again, because the series is about to wrap up. Yeah, they kind of had to bring him back in. So now I'm wondering now if they're finally gonna connect it now to Hobbs and Shaw. I
Yeah.
still
Well.
feel Hobbs and Shaw feel kind of disconnected from the series, because of the Rock. But I feel this could be the opportunity to connect those shows together, right? But that's all I have to say. So yeah, that pretty much ends my spoiler section, boy. I just had to get that out of my chest, boy. But yes, as you could tell, I just had a lot of fun watching what is essentially a bad movie. I can't stress this enough. It's a bad movie in terms of just the pacing, in terms of just over reliance on action and stunts and whatnot. And I mean, I know it's a Fast and Furious movie, right? But logic, as I say, is hurling. Is in space right now. It's in gravity right now. It does not exist in this movie, right? To the point that you will see characters show up and leave, and you just say like, why? How? Why? You know what I mean? It just makes no sense, right? And yet the show just gleefully just rolls with it. It just has a lot of fun with it. And I won't lie, this is gonna really make for a memorable moment as far as like theatrical releases go, right? But I could see myself in the years just looking back at this like, yeah, this is not a bad movie, and I could watch this with friends and point out moments that make no sense, point out lines that sound terrible, and just be laughing from start to end. Well, Ricardo, you lucky you had 3 stars new. I watched this shit sober, but believe you me, when I watch this again, yeah, I had to drink something, boy. This is one of the best ways to genuinely enjoy the show, right? So I talked long enough rating wise as a guilty pleasure movie, because yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, I'm going with a decent to strong 4 out of 5. Boy. This is one of the best, so bad is good movies I have ever seen in my life, boy. I don't know how the other two are gonna match this, boy. But they really have to get this shit together, right? I'm really saying this genuinely, right? Um, because again, we get into more films and then the series is done, eh? So they
Yeah.
really had to smarten up. That's the best way I can say it, right? They have to smarten up. Yes, give us the over the top thrills and whatnot, but they kind of have to smarten up the script a lot more, right? And I'll close to this, right? It's so ironic looking back at it now that it opens with a shot from Fast Five. Because yes, even with the over the topness of Five, it still works as just this well made and well written, I must say, by action movie standards, movie, right? But to throw all that away and just throw set pieces and countless action scenes and no logic is just, I don't know, but it's just a lot to take it. But I just found myself laughing throughout of it. So I guess that's why I enjoyed it so much, right? But that's just me. But Ricardo, your final thoughts and rating and anything else you want to mention on this show?
Yeah, no, nothing much more to talk about it. This was pretty bad. But again, I didn't hate this as much as nine. Nine was still worse than this for me. I mean, it's a shame that it just had a kind of decline after the middle of the franchise because I felt it was starting to climb to something interesting and they could have really get some. I think my main problem is that they just half-assing the set pieces and they just really everything is CG. One of the big things is that Vin Diesel just looked tired in this. Like yeah, he looked like he
Yeah.
really fucking done with this shit, dude. Like he done.
Even when he
Again,
does, even when he does just plain normal dialogue, he looks tired.
tired, yeah,
Like he's
really
done.
tired. Like he does like that is one part when wishing him by Russell character gets shot from the helicopter and he's like, no! I'm like, bro, like that's why you yell out, boy. Like, okay.
Yeah, like you
Uh
barely know the girl. You met her in some bar in some European
no, point
country, and
is,
all of a sudden
it
it's like,
doesn't lack
no.
does he lack of energy in the whole thing.
Uh,
It does, and the blocking of the sequence is terrible. Like I don't know if that was in a volume or something, because that didn't look like it was outside. It was looking weird. Whatever.
it did, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, Britain, yeah, like a 4 to 10, it was still kind of entertaining, but it still sucked. Let's admit that. That's about it. I'm not too hyped over it. Like I had some
Hmm.
fun with it. The twist was kind of interesting, maybe, but yeah, overall, it's just fall flat for me. Yeah, like a 4 to 10. It's kind of trash.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you for that score at all, boy, because it's genuinely bad, even by fast standards, right? But
Yeah,
it's just the ballsiness of it to just say, yes, we're going to be this bad, and we're gonna just be so over the top with it, you can't help but watch, right? And really and truly, it's because of Jason Momoa. He really holds this together. If he wasn't there and it was just Aqua Hawk Reacher, it would have just
yeah,
been just forgettable, right? But yeah,
yeah,
like it or not, Jason Momoa is the most memorable thing about this show. I don't know what they're gonna do with him in the last film. Sorry, in the next film. Um, I would be scared if he shows up again. If he shows up in part 12, that's when I'll be like, all right, you're really scraping the barrel a little too much here, right? Like like just having him hold on long enough for our next film is alright, but if he shows up in the last one, like last one, I'll be like, alright, this is it. We are done with this, right? But yeah, if you're curious, go see it. It is certainly worth seeing in theaters, right? But I will say, if you could just drink a couple beers before watching this, boy, you will enjoy this way more. But even I know I was sober and I, I was just laughing at it, right? This mainly because of how bad it was, right? But yeah, it is what it is. It's out. So if you want to see it, see it. But if you're giving up on the franchise, I would say since 7, yeah, skip this one, man.